All right, it's time.
It's time.
Here we go. Audio's working, video's working. Looks like you've got some fans in the chat already.
Maybe not just friends, not fans.
Yeah. Fanboys. There we go. Thank you, Chris. Amazing. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we should next time we're gonna have to limit the celebration on the page to three per session per user. Um, Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for being here, Matt. Hopefully, yeah, people are starting to come in here. They're either they've taken a water break, gone to the bathroom, or they're trying to quickly crunch a bunch of data after hearing Nick Slavik speak.
Oh,
So,
I'm following Nick.
yeah.
I mean, I was listening to his a little bit. That's just rude to have to follow him. And then
Yeah, yeah.
Dave Scaturo has to follow me. Dave, are you prepared for that?
There you go, Chris. Okay, great. Well, I don't want to take up too much time. It's a quick session, so appreciate you being here. I'll just do a quick intro for Matt here for those of you that don't know him. So Matt Kuyper is the co-owner of Harpeth Painting, a company recognized for excellence in both commercial and residential markets. He's helped scale the business by aligning marketing and sales, building high-functioning teams, and focusing on long-term client relationships. Matt brings clarity and leadership to every phase of business development. So this session that he's going through today is along the lines of aligning marketing and sales for commercial success. So there's going to be lots to absorb here, and as always, this session is going to be recorded. So take some notes, pay attention, and then watch it again and again to really absorb it all. But thank you, Matt, and it's all yours.
All right. Thanks, Jaden. All right, everybody. These things are always weird with just talking to a computer and not seeing anybody. So if you're in the chat, let me know you're there, who you are. If you're actually interested in this, drop your name. If I don't know you, where you're from, company name, stuff like that. I love to see the chats going. And when John approached me about doing this, it's like, man, marketing is not something that I'm really passionate about. But I realize that it's really one of the most important things that we're doing, and we align it really well with sales at Harpeth Painting. So they had kind of not given me the title aligning marketing and sales for commercial success, but that's kind of what looked good on the emails and all that stuff. But I kind of retitled it marketing to sales, a tactical approach in commercial painting. That kind of gives a little bit more of what I want to focus on is some of the things that we do, what has worked for us, try to share those with you guys, try to put a little, some anecdotes in here as well to hopefully give you something that you can walk away with today and implement in your business tomorrow. So yeah, number one is finding the clients. Number two is closing those deals. So let's get into how we do that. I do want to say too that this is commercial focused, and I'm going to talk both about commercial repaint, or some people call it DTO, and new commercial construction, which would be like for general contractors. I'm going to try to denote when I'm talking about each one, but let me know if that gets confusing. I want to try to bundle all that together because I think they are different, but it's all commercial painting. So let's jump in. A little bit of an intro. I know there's probably some new people in here. I think John said everybody knows Matt, but not everybody probably knows me. We're Harpeth Painting out of Nashville, Tennessee. We are about 50-50 split with commercial and residential. And then in those categories, we do about an equal amount of new construction, residential, some high-end homes, and then also the new construction and commercial repaint. We kind of divide our business into 5 categories, which is actually 6 now. We're launching a drywall division this year. Wish me luck. We do new residential repaint, new commercial repaint, and then we kind of have what we call our specialty finishes division, which is wallpaper, decorative finishes, high gloss stuff, more of the specialty stuff, and then drywall. Being such a diverse company has created a lot of challenges for us from a marketing perspective, because not as simple as we paint houses. It's much more complex. We have to find our audience or our customers where they're at in those multiple channels. So we've had to be very intentional about how we market to different segments and not diluting our brand, but also realizing that some of our commercial clients will also find value in some of the offerings we have for our residential clients as well. So it's been a little bit of a challenge with figuring those things out, but it's also been very rewarding to be able to kind of be the one-stop shop for a lot of our customers. Real quick, a little more info. Here's my family. I run the business with Maggie, my wife. Wouldn't be anywhere close to where we are without her. Oh yeah, Brad, cuties. This was beach vacation from last year. The kids already look older than this. And then here's a team picture from about a year ago. We've added several more since then. We have 14 on our leadership team of people in the office, and it is a good group. I'm very thankful for them. Couldn't do it without them either. And then a little shout out to those who are in the know about the Ask a Painter winter or summer retreats. This has also been pivotal for my growth as a painting contractor. I think just generally accelerated my knowledge of the industry and how to be an excellent painting contractor in a relatively short period of time. I've been doing this for 8 years. It wouldn't be without not just this group, but many other people who are and been in different groups that have great. Yeah, 1.1x. There we go, Chris. That's right. Little inside joke. Anyways, that's me. That's how I got here. The quick version. Let's get into the meat of this thing. I want to try some real tactical stuff here. A lot of times people are approaching me in how do we get more commercial work? How do we go after commercial repaint? How do we find these general contractors? And I think people coming from the residential world are a little unsure of how to approach that. And we've found number one, our website has been kind of the driver of that stuff. Even when it's a referral or it's from a networking event, most of the commercial buyers are going to go to your website to check you out. And that's where I really think it's important, even if you're doing residential and commercial, to have a good commercial landing page and be doing your SEO and your LSAs, your Google ads, all that stuff has to have a commercial focus as well if you're going after that work. We have not found Facebook or kind of the social media stuff that really works in the residential world to be as effective for us in commercial marketing. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It just, we haven't found how to crack that code. I think when our buyers, when our client is browsing on Facebook, they're probably not thinking about work at that time. It's more of a LinkedIn, Google search kind of clientele. And we also made sure that our branding is consistent across, the website, our shirts, all the print stuff we do. It's just a more professional look that I think the commercial buyer is typically looking for. They want an established business that they can trust, and just being on brand and showing what you do in a professional way. PaintScout is great with this, with proposals. Just being professional is huge in the commercial world, obviously residential as well. And then another tactic that we found to be excellent in, especially in the direct owner commercial repaint world, is email. I call it marketing. It's really more of a, I hate the word newsletter, but you know what these things are. They go out to your distribution list, and it's some tips and tricks. It's a, hey, have you thought about caulking the exterior of your windows before winter? Those sort of things that we all kind of know how to do. Those, every time we send one of those out, we get work. So it's like, if we're ever slow, email. And this can be through kind of the contacts you already have, or there's great paid lists out there that they're probably about 75% accurate, I've found, of not getting kickbacks or actually finding the most relevant person. But again, we've made a really strategic investment in Google with blogs, with SEO, and that seems to be what works for us right now. And uh, local companies have been great for us. I know there's some national people out there that kind of focus on painting contractors. We've found a lot more effectiveness with hiring somebody local to manage this for us. There's a lot of, I don't understand it, and it's probably bad of me for not understanding how that all works. Marketing feels a little bit like voodoo magic to me. So I rely on people that are much more experts at this than I am. But what I try to do is get this lead flow so that I can get to the point where I can make a sale. Here's just an example of one of our landing pages on our website that kind of lets people know when they come here that we are a commercial painting contractor in Nashville. Talked about that, how it's really not working right now. Yeah, trends may shift, I think. But we all know the ultimate tactic in all of this is networking and face-to-face meetings with people. This is where marketing and sales really come together and are hardly distinguishable. And these people, it sounds weird when you say that, but the people that are making the decisions on these often very large projects want to know who they're working with. And it starts with trust, it starts with likability, but then it goes much deeper from there that you are there to solve their problem. And this can happen a lot better when you have relationships with people that are beyond just they found you on Google. That's where it starts, but it's a lot more relationship based because these are very large purchases. You're going to be on a job with these people for years potentially. It's not just two days to paint a bedroom. It's months and months and months of working with these people. So there has to be a lot of trust, and the best way to build that is through networking and referrals. Some of the things that we do, just through some of the logos up here, obviously the BNIs have been great. BOMA, kind of more of the property manager world. IREM, kind of the same thing. We don't do a lot with the apartment communities, but the Greater Nashville Apartment Association and those in different areas I know do really well with those sort of networking events. So as you're finding your ideal client, they're coming in. The real thing is trying to figure out then who your ideal customer is, because you want to meet these customers where they are, where they're making these decisions. And then you want to be able to convert those leads into sales. And that only happens when you're finding the right leads. So this has been super helpful to me of kind of identifying your ideal client doppelganger, so to speak. And it starts with geographic. Who do you want to work with? Where are your clients located? For us, 90% of that we say is within 1 hour of downtown Nashville. So if you're in Indianapolis and you want to work with people in Indianapolis, that's number one. You know, you're not going to market to somebody in Florida if that's not where you want to do work. And the demographic is who these people are. What are their titles? Where do they spend their time? What are they looking for? And that's like, it could be a property manager who has multiple buildings in the office segment. That would be a demographic of somebody like that. And then the psychographic is a little more complex. That's what these people are actually looking for, what their problems are, what their feelings are about this situation. And that could be, that they want to feel good about their property, that it's the best looking in Nashville, or it's the most protected and it's not going to leak, or it's on brand for their corporate branding. And they just want that problem solved. So understanding all three of those things really helps you nail down on who your ideal customer is. So we really focus on the customers that share our core values with us. And a lot of times they're not stating their core values, but you can kind of figure it out, especially as you start to develop a little bit of a relationship with these people. A general contractor, they're a national GC, one of the top, uh, probably 100 ENR commercial general contractors. We do a lot of work with them in Nashville, and it's just all their people and our people just mesh. Like there's no other way to say it than it's just we enjoy working with them. We treat each other well both ways. They do the kind of projects we want to do. They're in it for the long haul, good relationships. And so those are the kind of people that we want to find more of, and understanding that we're all kind of aligned in the same way. Same thing on the commercial repaint side. Highwoods, again, they're probably in most of y'all's markets as well. Um, and I throw the company name out there, and it's not really the company; it's the people. People make these decisions, not companies. So the property managers in these companies value the relationships they're building. They value their property and how they want to represent it to their owners, and that's where we want to focus our time. Is not somebody that just wants a quick turn, or somebody that's going to burn through painters and they're just trying to get it done for as cheap as possible and move on to the next one. That's not a value share with us. So that kind of is why we stay out of the apartment turn world, where it's just get it done, get as many done as you can for as cheap as possible. And same thing with out of town general contractors, where they're coming in doing one project and gone. There's good opportunity there because they don't necessarily have relationships with people in the market. So you can typically do well on those jobs, but that's not what we're going for with the long-term relationships, trust building, repeat customers. So we'll tend to shy away from those. But I urge you to kind of spend a lot of time while you're developing your marketing plan to really identify your ideal client as well, because it determines how you're going to sell to them, where you're going to find them, and then how you're going to convert that into a successful project. I talked a little bit about this earlier on. In the commercial world, we do see the Googles, the LinkedIns. One of our secret sauces for attracting new clients has been relying on other trade contractors. Specifically, this is really effective working for general contractors, of networking with the drywall guys in town, the electricians, the plumbers, the masons, whoever it is, and they'll spill the beans about, oh, you got to work with this project manager over here at so and so company. They are just the best to work with. They know who to stay away from, conversely. And I did touch a little bit on the paid lists. We have found those to be effective, especially in direct to owner work, where you're just trying to get as many property managers, as many facility managers, building owners, and using your email outreach, your cold calls, your door knocking, old school sales and marketing techniques really work in that market. One of the things, I don't know if I have this on a slide here, but as our team's gotten bigger, we've made a requirement of everybody to be in some sort of networking group, whether it's a traditional like the BOMAs or the BNIs or something like that, or Justin, who sells a lot to our designers, does lunch and learns monthly, where he'll go into a designer office and take a bunch of samples and talk about paint sheen or new products or something like that. And that's how we keep our cost of marketing down, is by just being in front of people, being a part of the community. And the majority of our work, everybody says they want more repeat and referral work. We have somehow figured out how to make that the majority of our work. And I think it's through these intentional methods of everybody in our company. Kind of that's the culture we have of being out in the community, being involved and networking in a real way that's not salesy. That means that the personal touch always wins. I want to touch a little bit too on the cycle of these things. So a lot of people I've talked to, especially as they're trying to get into new commercial work, they're like, I'm not winning anything. Like, I feel like I'm spinning my wheels. I've been doing this for 6 months and I have nothing to show for it. And I know that's frustrating, but there is a sales cycle in this commercial world that is longer than in residential. And you've got to stay with it. You've got to be patient. You've got to realize that it's going to come if you're doing it right. You're just not going to get that feedback as soon as what you want. So it does kind of, it makes you question whether you're doing the right thing or not, because you're not getting that immediate feedback. But a lot of people are giving up on this too soon. So I'd say, I mean, I have examples of what was it? It's not really an HOA. It's a big retirement community where we had kind of talked with them years ago about repainting all the exteriors and did a budget for them. Then it was off the table. Then they got the funding for it. And then we worked it into a 3-year schedule. And I think I started working on that project 2 years after I started the company. So 6 years ago. And we still have one more phase of that to do next year. So don't give up on these things. Sometimes they take a long time to come to fruition. That's for that, keep building those relationships, be patient. Um, I don't know why I said selling is emotional and value driven, except when it's not. That's, we'll just skip over that unless somebody really wants to dive into what I don't even know about that. I also get a lot of questions about the follow-up cadence on these kind of projects. On a res repaint, you're going to give your bid maybe in person if you're using PaintScout and production rates, and you're going to go there and present your proposal. That is a great way to close on the spot. That is harder to do in commercial, especially in new construction. Now, there is a lot of commercial repaint. You can do this. I know my friend Dave, who's on here, they try to do a little bit of this sell on the spot because it does increase your close rate. But a lot of times there's a lot of other decision makers involved with these projects that you're presenting it to somebody, and then it may be a person in Detroit who is finally making the decision based on the proposals that the local guy has received. So there's a little bit of a game to play on figuring out who the decision maker is, what the timeline's going to be. This is where I had my example of the HOA repaint. And this is also the benefit of this kind of work is you can really increase your backlog. One of the things that PaintScout has been so helpful for us on is visualizing what our backlog is. Now, there's not a really good way without manually doing it to kind of show the timeline of that, but visually seeing what our backlog is really helpful because you can really grow that backlog with commercial, especially new construction, which I love just having years of work in the pipeline. All right. So kind of in a little bit of a conclusion here, I really talked about the alignment of marketing and sales, and most painting companies don't truly have a marketing department and a sales department. Some of the larger ones may have somebody that's in charge of marketing, but it's not the big corporate division. So you really got to work together. The overlap between sales and marketing for a painting contractor is really intertwined. And really just continuing to spend money and time, because time really is the ultimate resource of where your clients are, where they're making, who the decision makers are, and then also being certain to support the strategic goals of the business. So if you have a growth goal of, say, just a small leap of 10%, say you're $1 million company and you want to grow 10% the next year, and you're going hard after commercial repaints, you're probably going to exceed your goal of 10% just by selling one job. So it can get away from you if it's not aligning with the goals of your company. Likewise, or vice versa, if you have a goal to double your business and you have the stability in place, the cash flow, the SOPs, the job costing, all that stuff, and you want to get on some rocket growth, you can do that by increasing your sales and marketing tactics in the commercial world, especially a little more quickly in the commercial repaint world. So I hope some of that makes sense. I know I breezed through a ton of information really fast there. This stuff is just really exciting to me. It's hard for me to slow down about it because I'm so it's worked, and I've got to share this with a lot of people. I do want to give a plug to Chris Moore. He's been gracious enough to let me work with him and the Elite Business Advisors team as a commercial advisor. I love working with these hungry contractors who maybe have little or no commercial experience and just see the opportunities there and just need some tactics, some tips on how to get into that world, or what to look out for. What are the pitfalls? What mistakes did I make that I can help them avoid? So find me, Elite Business Advisors, find Chris Moore. Love to help more people like that, even just impromptu phone calls. I would love to just hear some questions from everybody. I don't even know how many people are on here, how many people are listening. I hope that was valuable.
It very much was. Oh, we lost you. There he is.
I don't know what happened.
No worries. I think, yeah, you shut the screen and then we lost everything. Yeah. So we're back. I was just asking people to throw their questions in the Q&A. We have some questions here that we can start going through. The other thing I saw on your slide there was just asking for examples of wins and successes. So maybe while we're answering some of these questions, throw those in the chat, and it'd be great to see and share. So
all-in painting, how long did it take your business to get to 50-50? So I came from the commercial background and wanted to start out initially right into the commercial world, and that's financially a little difficult. So I had to reverse engineer what most people do, and I had to learn the residential world from the commercial world. So we started out residential and pretty quickly got into commercial, and it's almost always been about 50-50 since the beginning. John says, where do you suggest going to for lists? We have, let's see how I can say this. We've worked with a few email marketing companies that have sourced the list for us. And as we've run out of time on our contracts in those scenarios, we still own the list. So we've gotten the list through marketing companies, but I know that there are, I'm trying to think of what the main sources are out there. But again, you got to go through, and anyone you purchase is going to have some junk in it. So we still very manually go through, because we're not sending these out to 10,000 people. It's more like maybe 2,000. They're very targeted. How do you manage cash flow with GCs that pay net 30, schedule values, payment terms, strategies, doing a lot of custom new residential, and sometimes GC work hits all at once? Yeah. So we've found it kind of from day one of having this blend of the right amount of repaint and the right amount of new construction. So it helps with the cash flow there. You can't jump too much into the new construction net 30, net more than that a lot of times, without having some of the cash flow generating work to support it. And then as you get a little bit more secure in your finances, have more retained earnings, that becomes less of an issue. But in the beginning, just understanding that you may need some of that fast turn work to support the payment terms that you have with your GCs, and projecting that, not being surprised by it. Don't take on a job that you know you can't cash flow. It's just small incremental steps in the size of your job, and making sure that you are going to get it within 30 days.
Chris also had a question, which is along the same lines, and I would imagine a similar answer, of how do you recommend planning for cash flow impact as people transition into commercial work along with their residential?
Yeah, so a lot of times you can project the schedule of a project. So if it's a 6 month project and it's $1 million job, you're going to have, that math is hard. If it's a 10 month project and $1 million job, it's $1 million a month. There's easy math, and that's you're going to be out the labor, the material. You can project that on a monthly basis and know what your carry cost is going to be until you get paid. So it's harder sometimes if it's a fast duration project where it's, hey, you got 30 days to knock this thing out and you're going to have 90% of your company resources on one job, and then you got to wait. So you just got to know what the schedule is and project that over time to see if it's even a good fit for your company.
Yeah. So it sounds like from going from 100% residential to starting to feed commercial, and it's not all at once. You're not going
Yeah.
straight to 50-50.
Yeah. And don't kid yourself of not doing the math. You can't just be excited about a win of a sale. You got to have a plan of how you're going to fund that job, because you essentially do turn into a bank, and the
And
upside has to be there.
and progress payments is
Yeah.
probably a big part of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And none of that
Uh,
stuff is hard. It's just a little new for a lot of people.
mhm,
So just the
absolutely.
exposure.
A couple more here, Chris. Because of the sales cycle of this type of work, are you better to think a year ahead for when you really want to expand your commercial division?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's been interesting just economically too. If you see a lot of the res repaint world of, sales are down, average job size is down because it's an immediate, people feel the effect of whatever their local economy is, and things change quickly. We're seeing now a little bit of slowing in some of the commercial bid markets, a little bit of slowing in uh, some of the repaint stuff, just depending on segment. And I know that that's going to affect me 2 years, 3 years down the road.
Yeah.
So I'm already being proactive, much much farther down the road than just 3 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Jumping back closer to the start of your presentation, John was asking if you have a residential version of your website, like
We did.
separate versions.
So we don't have two separate landing pages, but when you go to our main page, there is immediately a commercial and residential drop down that then kind of divides you out.
Yeah. Okay.
We did kind of go through the thought process of if there is almost like two identical or two different, true landing pages, but we almost want to showcase a little bit when you first go there that we do both, and then it kind of specializes you out from there.
Yeah. Right on. Dave's asking your current split between subcontractors and in-house labor.
So we only have, let's see, as of today, 2 in-house painters. I've been trying to grow this, have grown it, and then they continue to want to be subs. So we have become a business coach more or less for a lot of our W-2 painters who want to start their own businesses. We are essentially 100% subs at this point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Chris, different Chris is asking, would you suggest having one business development rep finding new targets and just funneling leads and scheduling estimates for estimators and salespeople?
I know that works for some people, and I don't necessarily see a downside to that. I think culturally and the kind of projects we go after, I don't know if it would be effective for us. We want more of a vertical relationship with somebody in our company that it again, because it's a long-term deal. They're going to be the salesperson. They're going to be involved through production. They're going to be involved through the follow-up. I don't like in these long-term projects to have kind of that handoff. But again, I do know that some people have success with that, and I think different kind of markets or different customers would find that more valuable than others.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I would never do it, and I just right now we're at a point where I much prefer kind of that long-term single ownership model.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. That's really helpful. That's good insight. Um, there might be some more. Oh, here we go. Another one. What do you see as the average time for commercial bids to close?
So on a new commercial like some GC, I would say average is probably 3 months to 6 months, in that range. Repaint can be, there's probably no average. It can be a week and it can be a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are highly variable.
Yeah.
Sorry for a non-answer, whoever asked that question. It
It's
depends.
it's just John. It's just John Bryant. So he'll figure it out.
What a
We'll
terrible question, John.
Yeah. Right on. Well, if there's any more that come in here, I'll let you know. We can get you connected to Matt. But otherwise, we're getting close to time here. So thank you very much for being here. There's plenty of really great insight. I think that commercial world is just very interesting, and there's such huge opportunities if you approach it in the right
Yeah.
way. And so,
Yeah.
again, Matt is here as a volunteer. He's volunteering his time to share insights and education with you guys, so you don't have to stumble through and learn it all on your own. And
feel free to
fail your
find
way
me
through.
on Facebook, Instagram, message, DM. Reach out. Happy to answer questions, hop on calls, whatever. Just love being a part of this industry and what PaintScout's doing too.
Perfect. Thank you again very much, Matt, for being here.
Thanks,
And
Jaden. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
and if you'd like, as usual, you can throw some confetti on Matt to thank him from afar silently. There you go. Right on. Thanks again.
See ya.
Take care.